I used to believe that if you did everything right, family would stand by you. I believed love was louder than jealousy. I believed silence meant peace. I was wrong. The engagement dinner was supposed to be simple. My parents insisted on hosting it at their place, a quiet suburban home in New Jersey, decorated like a Hallmark movie. Soft fairy lights on the porch, pine garlands on the staircase, and a long dining table dressed in ivory linen and gold cutlery. December air.
Christmas season.
Everything looked perfect. Too perfect. My fiancé, Daniel, squeezed my hand as we stepped inside. "You okay?" he asked softly. I smiled. Just nervous. That wasn't the truth. The truth was, my family had been acting strange for weeks. Short replies. Delayed calls. My mother's tone had changed, like she was speaking around me instead of to me. But I told myself I was overthinking. I always did. The living room was already full. My father stood near the fireplace, laughing a little too loudly with my uncle. My younger sister, Claire, was adjusting the centerpiece on the dining table like she was hosting the event herself. She looked up, saw me, and paused. Then smiled. That smile made my stomach tighten. Finally, my mother said, hugging me briefly.
Not warmly.
Just enough to be polite. "Dinner's almost ready." No congratulations. No excitement. "No, we're so happy for you." I brushed it off. We sat down. Daniel on my right. Claire directly across from me. My parents at the head of the table. Wine was poured. The clinking of glasses filled the room. Everyone chatted. Work updates, weather, holiday plans. Normal conversations. But every time I spoke, the table went quieter. Every time Claire spoke, everyone listened. Halfway through dinner, my mother stood up, holding her glass. "I think this is the perfect moment," she said, smiling at the room, "to talk about family." Daniel squeezed my hand again. My father nodded. Family is about sacrifice, about knowing your place. I felt my heartbeat in my ears. My mother turned toward me. "You've always been independent," she said carefully. "Sometimes too independent." I forced a smile. I didn't know that was a problem. Claire laughed softly. "It is when you forget who helped you get there." I looked at her. "What does that mean?" She shrugged. "Just saying." My father cleared his throat. "There are things we need to address before this engagement goes any further." The room went still. Daniel straightened in his chair. "Is something wrong?" My mother sighed dramatically. "We've been concerned. About finances. About stability. About honesty." I blinked. "Honesty?" She nodded. "We found out you didn't tell us everything." My chest tightened. "About what?" Claire leaned back, crossing her arms. "About how much help you've been getting from Daniel." I turned to her sharply. "What are you talking about?" She smiled. "The trips. The gifts. The career boost. You make it sound like you built everything alone." Daniel opened his mouth, but my father raised a hand. "This isn't about you, son," he said. "This is about whether our daughter is ready for marriage." I felt heat rise to my face. "You invited everyone here to question me?" My mother's voice softened, the kind of softness that cuts deeper. "We invited everyone because we care." Claire leaned forward. "We just don't want Daniel marrying someone who hides things from her own family." I laughed. A short, disbelieving sound. "You think I hide things?" My mother placed her hand on Claire's arm. "Your sister has been very open with us." That's when I understood. This wasn't an engagement dinner. This was a trial. And I was the only one on the stand. Daniel finally spoke. "With respect, I don't see the issue. We're happy. We support each other." My father looked at him calmly. "You may not know her the way we do." I stared at my parents. "You're doing this now?" In front of everyone. My mother met my eyes. "If there's nothing to hide, why are you upset?" The words hit harder than shouting ever could. Claire smiled again. That same controlled, careful smile. I looked around the table. No one defended me. Not my aunt. Not my uncle. Not even my cousin who used to text me every day. I realized something terrifying in that moment. They had already chosen a side.
and it wasn't mine.
I slowly stood up. I didn't come here to be judged, I said quietly. I came here to celebrate. My father nodded. Sometimes truth is more important than celebration. I looked at Daniel. His jaw was tight, eyes searching my face. I forced a calm smile. You're right, I said. Truth is important. Claire tilted her head. What do you mean? I picked up my purse. I mean, this conversation isn't finished, I said softly. Just not tonight. My mother frowned. Sit down. We're not done. I looked at her, really looked at her, and realized she wasn't my protector anymore. She was part of the problem. I am, I replied. Daniel stood with me instantly. As we walked toward the door, Claire's voice followed us. Running away doesn't make you innocent. I paused, turned back, and smiled. This isn't me running, I said. This is me preparing. The door closed behind us. Outside, the cold air burned my lungs. Daniel asked quietly, Do you want to talk about it? I looked at the house, glowing with warm lights, filled with people who had just tried to tear me apart. No, I said. I want to finish it. And for the first time that night, I wasn't scared, because I knew something they didn't. This wasn't the end of the engagement dinner. It was the beginning of their regret. I didn't sleep that night, not because I was heartbroken, but because my mind was finally clear. When people show you who they are, you don't argue. You document. By morning, I had replayed every conversation from the last 2 years, every family favor, every temporary help request, every time my parents said, It's just easier if you handle it. And I had handled it. The mortgage payments, the insurance renewals, the joint accounts for emergencies. The paperwork my father didn't understand, but trusted me to sign. Daniel sat across from me at the kitchen table, coffee untouched. They planned that dinner, he said quietly. Didn't they? I nodded. Weeks ago. And your sister? She let it. He exhaled slowly. Then tell me what you need. I looked at him.
Time.
And silence. For the next 3 weeks, I said nothing. No family group chats. No defending myself. No emotional messages. I let them get comfortable. My mother called once. Left a voicemail.
We're worried about you.
You overreacted. My father texted. Families shouldn't run from accountability. Claire posted pictures online, smiling captions, engagement dinner leftovers, Christmas decorations still glowing in the background. She wanted the world to think she won. What she didn't know was that while she was posting photos, I was meeting with a lawyer. A quiet office. Glass walls. New York skyline behind him. He flipped through the documents I had brought. This, he said, tapping the page, puts you in a very strong position. I smiled slightly. I know. The following Friday, my parents hosted another dinner. This time, they didn't invite me, but they invited Daniel. He went. They didn't expect him to show up alone. According to him, the moment he sat down, my mother leaned forward and said, We're glad you came to your senses. Claire smiled. It's not too late. Daniel placed his phone on the table. I'm not here to choose sides, he said calmly. I'm here to return something. He slid a folder across the table. My father frowned. What is this? Daniel stood. Read it. Inside were copies. Property records. Bank statements. Authorization forms. My name. Only my name. The room went quiet. My mother's voice shook. This can't be right. Claire looked confused. Dad. My father's face drained of color. That house you sold. Daniel said evenly. The money you moved? The account you've been using? He paused. It was never yours to begin with. My mother laughed nervously. This is some misunderstanding. Daniel shook his head.
No.
The misunderstanding was thinking she owed you silence. That night, I sent one email. To everyone who had been at the engagement dinner.
Short.
Polite.
Cold.
I won't explain myself. The truth is now documented. Any further communication will go through legal counsel. The fallout was immediate. The house sale was frozen. The buyers pulled out. The bank launched a review. My father called me at midnight, crying. I don't understand why you're doing this, he said. We're your parents. I let the silence stretch. Then I replied calmly. You stopped being my parents the moment you tried to publicly break me. My mother called the next day. We were protecting you, she whispered. No, I said. You were protecting control. Claire never called. She posted instead. Cryptic quotes, victim captions, stories about betrayal. But something changed. People started asking questions. And she didn't have answers. 3 weeks later, I stood in the same dining room again. Not for dinner. For closure. The table was empty. Decorations gone. Lights off. My father looked older. Smaller. My mother wouldn't meet my eyes. Claire wasn't there. I didn't do this to hurt you, I said. I did it to stop you. My father swallowed. What do you want? I smiled, not cruelly, not proudly. Just honestly.
Peace, I said.
And distance. As I walked out, my mother asked quietly, was it worth losing your family? I paused at the door, turned back, and said the truth. I didn't lose my family at that dinner. I just stopped pretending I still had one. Daniel was waiting for me outside. Snow falling softly. Christmas lights glowing across the street. He took my hand, and for the first time, the future felt lighter. Because revenge didn't make me powerful. Freedom did. The next time my family saw me, I wasn't emotional. I was prepared. 2 weeks passed after the engagement dinner. 2 weeks of silence from my parents. 2 weeks of passive-aggressive messages from Claire. 2 weeks where Daniel and I barely spoke about what happened, not because we were avoiding it, but because we were planning.
Carefully.
My mother finally called on a Sunday afternoon. We should talk, she said, her voice tired. As a family. I smiled. Sure, I replied. When? She hesitated. Tonight.
Dinner.
One last time, before Christmas. One last time. That phrase told me everything. They thought this would be their closing statement. Their final chance to control the story. They had no idea I was about to rewrite it. I arrived alone. Daniel stayed behind, on purpose. The house looked the same.
Same lights.
Same decorations. Same illusion of warmth. But I noticed something new this time. Tension. It was everywhere. My father didn't hug me. My mother barely met my eyes. Claire sat on the couch, scrolling through her phone, pretending I didn't exist. Let's sit, my father said. No small talk. No pretending. We sat at the dining table again, the same place where they tried to break me. My mother folded her hands. We've been worried about you. I nodded. I'm sure. My father sighed. We think it's best if you reconsider this engagement. Claire finally looked up. Daniel doesn't fit into our family. I tilted my head. Interesting. That wasn't your concern last month when he was paying for vacations. Silence. Claire's jaw tightened. That's not what this is about. Then what is it about? I asked calmly. My mother leaned forward. You've changed. You don't listen anymore. I smiled softly. I learned. My father frowned. Learned what? I reached into my bag and placed a thin folder on the table. How to keep records, I said. Claire laughed nervously. What is this? Some kind of drama? I opened the folder and slid out the first document. Bank statements. These are the transfers I made over the last 3 years, I said. Monthly. Consistent. Labeled family support. My mother blinked. We never denied that. I nodded.
Good.
Because this next part matters. I placed another paper down. The house renovation. I continued. Paid by me. The medical bills?
Me.
Claire's grad school deposit. Claire's face went pale. That was a gift, she snapped. I looked directly at her.
No.
It was a loan. And I have your messages confirming that. My father's voice hardened. Why are you bringing this up now? Because, I replied, you brought me up.
Publicly.
At my engagement dinner. My mother's lips trembled. We were just being honest. So am I. I pulled out my phone. I also kept records of something else. I tapped the screen and placed the phone on the table, pressing play. Claire's voice filled the room. They'll listen to me. They always do. Just planned out. He'll walk away eventually. My mother gasped. Claire jumped up. That's taken out of context. I didn't raise my voice. There's more. Another recording played. Claire again. Once she's gone, the house situation will be easier. She won't fight it. My father stood up abruptly. Enough. I looked at him calmly. You wanted honesty. He stared at Claire. Is this true? She looked away. My mother's voice broke. Claire, why would you do this? Claire crossed her arms. Because she's always been the favorite. I laughed quietly. That's what you tell yourself? Claire snapped. You always had everything. I met her eyes. I built everything. Silence swallowed the room. I stood up slowly. I didn't come here to argue, I said. I came to inform you. My father narrowed his eyes. Inform us of what? I took a breath. I'm done funding this family. My mother stood too. You can't mean that. I do, I replied. No more money. No more silence. No more being the problem, so you can stay comfortable. Claire scoffed. You think this makes you powerful? I smiled. No, I said. This does. I placed the final document on the table. A legal notice. I've requested repayment for the loans, I said. You have 60 days. My mother collapsed into her chair. You do this to your own parents? I looked at her gently. You did it to me first. My father's voice was low. And Daniel? I picked up my bag. Daniel knows everything, I said. And he stayed. Claire laughed bitterly. You think you won? I paused at the door. I didn't come to win, I said. I came to leave. Outside, Daniel was waiting. He didn't ask questions. He just opened the car door. As we drove away, my phone buzzed. A message from my mother. We didn't know you were capable of this. I typed back one sentence. You never bothered to find out. I turned off my phone. That night, I realized something important. Revenge doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it looks like boundaries. Sometimes it looks like walking away with proof and letting the truth do the damage. And as Christmas lights blurred past the window, I knew one thing for sure. They lost more than money. They lost access to me.